This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com with my weekly review of the points I find interesting in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. There's a lot in this week's, and I want to stress to everyone I don't cover everything in it, just what I find interesting. And there's a lot in it this week that I did not find interesting that I'm not going to cover, but there's other stuff that I did that I am going to cover. Dan Rodheimer, who was once in the WWE and also ran as a congressional candidate, has turned himself in for murder in the connection with the deaths of someone this past October. Apparently, the incident took place on October 29th and was originally deemed an accident. However, it later turned out that this person tried to sell drugs to his daughter, in which case Rodheimer allegedly beat the guy up and he later died from the injuries. Rodheimer has 6 kids. I knew him in Deep South Wrestling when we were both there together. There was a lot of assholes in Deep South Wrestling, a lot of politics and bullying. And I just want to say that Rodheimer, who I've also interviewed, was a good guy at that time. And I don't blame him for beating somebody up that tried to sell drugs to his kid. It's unfortunate, the circumstances, but no matter what you guys want to say about how good or bad a wrestler he was, I wrestled him. I can tell you he was tough. There's not many people that can take the chops that I give and not complain. He took them. I've also interviewed him. He's just in my experience with him, he's a good guy. The rumor was all along when I was in Deep South, he was bigger than Randy Orton and he had a better body than Randy Orton. He admittedly was hazed a lot in WWE. He was looked at as a threat to Randy Orton. He was about the same age, taller, better physique. At one point in time, he was actually going to be in a group with Randy Orton. Apparently, Stephanie McMahon was high on him, but he ended up quitting. He got his law degree. Obviously, this is a horrible situation, but I just want to say, for the record, my dealings with him was he was a very good guy and underrated as a wrestler. The match that I had with him was in front of Nova, who was the then head of WWE Development Talent. It was like a showcase where Nova was there for a few days and everyone had matches in front of Nova to show their progression. And I've wrestled a lot of guys and he was legit tough. He's been released on a $200,000 bond. There was a naval criminal investigation into the alleged rape of Ashley Mazzaro. Nothing came of it, and the case was closed. Ashley was dead, and it was too difficult to identify the witnesses so far after the case. I guess at the time of the incident, she had told WWE about it, but because there was no case made of it at the time, I think it was too little too late. Paul Heyman, Bull Nakano, and US Express are the first inductees into the WWE Hall of Fame. Of course, the US Express is Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham. Two seemingly very nice guys. I don't know if Uncle Howdy is still signed or not. Uh, Bo Dallas, but I haven't heard anything of him being released. But there's a lot of rumors that Bray Wyatt will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year. Billy Jack Haynes' murder trial is already going to court on April 11th. That's really fast. Mick Foley, who's now 58, wants to have a retirement match. WWE has signed its first ever alcohol sponsor, Wheatley Vodka. Seth Rollins is cleared after his knee injury from Jinder Mahal's match with him to return to house shows as of this coming weekend. So obviously it wasn't as serious as originally thought. WWE SmackDown in Glendale, Arizona last week to 12,197 fans. WWE Raw Monday in San Antonio, the fifth in a row sellout, was 13,748. Sting had his second retirement match this past weekend. His first retirement was in TNA. The announced crowd was 16,876. Um, there was other shows that have done well there. They probably could have had more if the stage had been smaller. There was actually a WWE house show there that did a bigger crowd in the past during the Attitude Era, as well as a King of the Ring. Kevin Kelly has apparently been removed from the announcers page of AEW and is apparently involved in an internal matter. Mike Santana has left the company. He hadn't been seen since an October 25th appearance there. They doesn't seem like AEW fires anyone. They just let them ride out their contract. Kenny Omega still doesn't know if he's going to need surgery related to his diverticulitis. It's unlikely he'll be back for the Canadian shows this month. Wish him the best. Apparently, BJ Whitner. BJ Whitner, I'm not that familiar with him. He was sentenced to 5 years probation related to an assault. He had been an agent with AEW. I guess it came out in discoveries. AEW had paid $40,000 cash to the victim of his assault. Sammy Guevara has been suspended by the AEW Discipline Committee for breaking Jeff Hardy's nose on a botched 450 splash. Adam Page is taking some time off due to a family issue. In other wrestling news, Paul the Butcher Vachon died last week in his 80s. AEW Rampage Dynamite tapings this week in Duluth, Georgia, 3,382 fans. CMLL March 29th did a show that included Claudio Castagnoli. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Speaking of Deep South, I was there for his Deep South Wrestling tryout. John Moxley and Willow Nightingale. Apparently they had over 16,000 fans for that. And of course, in fighting news, Mike Tyson is fighting Jake Paul at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas on a free Netflix event coming up July 20th. I'm sure that's going to be a huge fight. And that's pretty much it. Wish everyone a great weekend.